So let's create a peach material. Let's look at some reference photos first. As you can see, the peaches are quite fuzzy, smooth, and this effect can be a bit difficult to create in a V-Ray, but I'm going to show you some tricks on how to get pretty close. So first we have to create a texture. I'm just gonna create a new file, paste this image, crop it like this, and rotate 90 degrees. Using the clone stamp tool, we're gonna fix this texture. Okay, let's offset it. Actually, let's copy everything, increase the canvas size by 200% in both directions. Paste a couple of times and transform or mirror one of the pieces like this. Okay, let's merge them together. And again, let's mirror one more time. Merge down and get rid of the most obvious tiling. Okay. And create a new layer and paint over with the red brush. Alright, let's blur this thing. And change the blending mode until you can see the pattern below it. So I guess multiply works, just to reduce the opacity a little bit. Let's clone in some detail. Alright, and I'm not gonna make it tileable. Let's save it as peach. And go to 3D Max. Here in 3D Max, I'm gonna start with the basic V-Ray material and set up a diffuse bitmap. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Maybe rotate it a little bit. Actually, let's leave it like it was, like here. Alright, looks good. Let's render and see how it looks. Right now it looks like the texture is too bright, too saturated. Let's fix that using hue saturation. Just lighten it up a little bit and bring down the saturation a bit as well. Okay, let's resave. Back to max. Here render. And that looks a bit better. Maybe just darken some areas a little bit. Okay, much better. So that's our basic peach. Now to create the fuzzy effect, we're going to use the fall off map. So change your diffuse map to fall off. Keep old map as submap. And re-render, and you're going to see that the edges are now white, but the effect is much too strong. Okay, just so you can see it better, I'm going to change it to blue for now. Let's adjust the mix curve. So let's bring this side down, maybe make it stronger along the edges and much weaker in the center, like this. So just a little bright edge. Okay. And for a very quick material, when you're pressed for time, this would be final, but we're gonna add some more detail to make it much more interesting. Alright, so let's say that's one level of fuzz. But as you can see in some reference photos, the fuzz can be seen on other areas as well that are closer to the center point that's facing you. So we're gonna do that by using another fall off map and mixing them both together. Okay. Sorry. Change the map type to mix. Keep old map as submap and copy it to the second slot. And here for the second slot, I'm going to change my mix curve, and we're going to mix them both together with the noise map. Okay, sorry, that's noise. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to change it to fractal from regular. Let's look how it. Let's see how it looks, and we want to increase the contrast a lot. Some bright spots and some very dark spots. Okay, like this maybe. Okay, and you can see the effect here. Let's render and see how it looks. Right now you can't see really anything because I think the noise is too large. Let's reduce it and see, maybe that improves it. Alright, that's better. That's better. Let's reduce the size a bit more. And go to our second map. And maybe take it down a notch. Okay, that's a bit better. I think maybe the contrast is too strong for the noise map. Let's reset it to 0 and recheck how it looks. Maybe that's fine. Oh no, not really. Okay. So the default for the high setting was 1. I reset it to 0, so that's why it looked a bit weird. And that's a bit better. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. I just change both colors for fall of maps to white. And you have this uneven, fuzzy appearance. Okay, so the second curve, maybe let's make it a bit weaker. A bit weaker, but more gradual. Like this. Nice. All right, and now we just need to set up some bump. I'm going to use a noise map again. Set it to fractal. Maybe resize to 10. We render. It looks nice, but a bit too strong. And a bit too small. Let's set it to 15 and reduce the strength to 10. Okay, that's better. And one last step we can do for this material is I'm just gonna make the level of fuzz around the edges a bit stronger. Okay. And finally we're gonna mix the diffuse map. We're gonna mix the diffuse map with an unfuzzy version of itself. So for example, I'm gonna copy one of my pitch textures. And set up another mix map in diffuse slot, keep old map as submap, and paste the regular texture in the second slot. Okay. And now, for now I'm gonna change that texture to a color so you can see what exactly is going on or what I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so I changed it to color. And I'm gonna use a noise map again as my mix amount. So what I want to do is I want to mix the fuzzy version with smooth version to make the fuzz appear a bit more natural. Right now it looks a bit artificial. Okay, let's reduce the size so you can see those patches. Okay. So the blue parts will be regular texture, and white parts, or the colored parts, will be the fuzzy texture. But to do that successfully, we first need to set up this map. Need much more contrast. And we want the fuzzy spots to dominate. Or maybe let's make it almost even. Okay, the pattern is alright, I think. Let's check how the fractal looks. Fractal might be a bit better. Can increase the levels for additional detail. Alright, that's better. So I'm going to use this pattern, and now I'm going to scale it down to the correct size. And let's try 0.5 first. It's a bit too large. 0.1. And for a higher resolution rendering, I think 0.1 might be good. Okay, maybe 0.15. And now let's enable our texture back on. So this changes the blue color to regular unfuzzy peach texture. Right, and if you look close enough, you can see how the detail has improved. I'm going to re-render in a larger resolution, just so you can see what I'm talking about. And notice all these little spots. They make the fuzz appear a bit more natural. I think we could probably reduce the size of them back to 0.1 if we are rendering so large. Okay, that's good. Let's try swapping the colors and see how that looks. Maybe this is better. Looks a bit rougher. I think the surface of this page looks pretty natural now. So the material is a bit tricky to set up with all these mix maps. But I think the results are worth it. Nice natural looking peach with some fuzz. Okay. And if you want to change it into a nectarine, it's super simple. Let's copy the material, rename it. And we can get rid of all these things in the diffuse map and just keep the original diffuse texture. Alright, I'll set up some reflections with Fresnel on, maybe add 4 or so. Blur them. And there's your nectarine. too reflective at the moment. Okay, maybe let's reduce the Fresnel a little bit and reflect color as well and blur it a bit more. And there's your nectarine. This is much simpler to set up than the fuzzy material we did before. Alright, so I hope you see how you can use the mix maps and fall-off maps to your advantage to create some advanced materials. Thanks for watching.